All right, so we're here in Logic and we're going to talk about duplicating tracks. So there are two key commands that you want to think about when it comes to duplicating tracks. That's Command D and Command Shift D. Command D is going to duplicate the track, so it's going to keep all the same settings. So if it's a software instrument track, it'll keep your instrument, whether that be one of the stock Logic instruments like the classic electric piano or complete control, if that's what you have loaded on the track, as well as all the plugins if there are any on the track, so like EQ, compressors, etc., and any sends, etc., that you have on the track. So those are what you will get when you duplicate the track. Now if it's an audio track, it'll keep the routing, so if you have any inputs on the track, input 1, input 2, whatever, any plugins you have on the track, any sends you have on the track. So when you press Command D, it's gonna give you a new blank track with all the same settings. But if you press Command Shift D, it will give you a new track with all the same settings, but it will copy the region from the original track over to the new track as well. So those are your two different options. So let's
track 1, track 2 drums.
Select this drum track here. If I press Control End,
9 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick,
and Control Home,
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick,
you see that we have a region on this drum track that goes from bar 1 to bar 9. So if I press Command D to duplicate this track,
new track with duplicate settings.
It says new track with duplicate settings. Now that means that we now have track 3, that duplicated track, in focus. If I up arrow,
track 2 drums,
see track 2 drums,
track 3 drums,
and if I down arrow, track 3 drums, right? And if I do Control End and Control Home, you see that it does not speak anything there because there are no regions on that track. So, if I wanted a new copy of the track, but I didn't want any of the regions on the track, then Command D is the key command you'd want to use. Now, let's go back up to track 2.
Track 2 drums.
And if we do Command Shift D this time, we're going to duplicate the track and the content. So let's go ahead and do that. Command Shift D.
Track 3 drums.
And now same deal. It's going to focus on the track that I just created. So if I up arrow,
track 2 drums.
You see that's track 2, down arrow.
Track 3 drums.
Track 3, right? And if I do Control Home and End,
9 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick,
it's that's Control End and Control Home.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
See, it has the same region length on this one that was originally on track 2. Go back up to track 2 here.
Track 2 drums.
Control N.
9 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
Control Home.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
And there you see it. So those are the different ways you can duplicate the tracks. Now, a lot of people have asked, how do you add an effect only to a part of a region? Let's say that you want like this reverb effect on something from, say, bar 9 to 10, but you don't want it on the whole region, the entire region. A lot of people ask about that and want to use selection-based processing for that. But in a lot of situations, I wouldn't recommend using selection-based processing. I would say duplicate the track with Command D, split the region, and copy that region from bar 9 and bar 10 over to that new track, and then add the new effect that you want to add onto that track. That's generally how I'd recommend doing that. All right, so now I want to talk about new track with same channel strip setting. And I'm going to get rid of these duplicated tracks here. So I'm just going to delete
Cancel
that.
button. Delete. Default. Delete track and regions. Delete track. Track 4 SoCal. Mute. Track 3 drums.
And
track, delete track.
That. So I got rid of the two tracks, the one with Command D and the one with Command Shift D.
Track 2 drums.
All right. So now I got this drum track here. And another thing that people do a lot of time when they try to duplicate a track is they'll use Control Shift Return or VOM, go over to the track menu, go down to other, and then select the new track with same channel strip settings. And the key command for that, as I said, is Control Shift Return.
Track 3 drums.
And I just went ahead and pressed that. Now look at what happens.
Track 4 SoCal. Mute. Track 3 drums. Track 2 drums.
See, track 2 drums,
track 3 drums.
Track 3 drums. It looks similar to when I did Command D, because if you notice, if I do Control End, Control Home, there's nothing on track 3.
Track 2 drums.
Go back track 2.
9 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
Yes, Control N.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
Control Home. So if I go back down to track 3.
Track 3 drums.
Watch this. I'm going to solo track 3.
Toggle channel strip solo on.
If I go up to track 2.
Track 2 drums. Solo.
You see track 2 is also soloed.
Track 3 drums. Solo.
So what's going on here is this is giving you a new track, but it's using the same instance of all the plugins that were on the original track. So same instruments, same EQs, compressors, whatever plugins are on the original track. So this is useful, let's say in the case of a drum, where you might want to have your kick on one track, snare on one track, etc., etc. That's one scenario where you can use it. But I wouldn't necessarily use it in this scenario because, as you see, if I solo this track, it solos both of them. If I mute this track, it's going to mute both of them. If I put an effect on track 2, it's going to put it on track 3 as well. Now, if you just want to have them on different track, you kick and snare and all that stuff on a different track, but you plan on treating them all as one instrument, you know, EQ, compression, whatever, on your drum bus, and you're not going to do anything on the individual tracks, then this will work fine for that. And let me show you what this looks like in the mixer. So if I jump into the mixer here with Command 2,
drums partially hidden.
You see we have this drum channel strip here, right?
SoCal, partially hidden, channel strip group.
If I VO right, you see it goes right to SoCal.
Drums, partially hidden, channel strip group.
Drum, that's I just VO left. If I VO left again.
Steinway Grand Piano, drums, partially hidden.
So you see, even though I have multiple tracks, there's only one channel strip in the mixer. I'm going to close the mixer.
Group. Track 1, Steinway Grand Piano, track 2 drums.
Do Control Shift Return again.
Track 3 drums, track 4 drums, track 5 drums.
So I just did it a couple times.
Track 4 drums, track 3 drums, track 2 drums, track 3 drums, track 4 drums, track 5 drums, track 6 drums, track 7 SoCal, mute. Track 6 drums.
So you see there are 4 of them now. But if I jump into the mixer,
drums, partially SoCal, partially hidden, drums, partially hidden, channel strip, Steinway Grand Piano.
There's still just the one channel strip there. So that's why it says new track with same channel strip, because it's pointing to the same instance of all the effects. You just have a new track. So
Tracks, group.
I'm going to close this and
track 2
let's
drums.
get rid of all of
track 3 drums, track 4 drums, track 5 drums, track 6 drums.
Just going to
track 6 SoCal, mute.
Delete
track 5 drums. Track 5 SoCal, track 4 drums. Track 4 SoCal, track 3 drums. Track 3 SoCal, track 2 drums.
Now I'm just going to do Command D again to duplicate the track.
New track with duplicate settings. Track 2 drums. Track 3 drums.
So you see we have both of those. Now if I jump into the mixer.
Drums, partially hidden. SoCal, partially hidden. Drums, partially hidden. Drums, partially hidden. Steinway Grand Piano.
So you see I have the 2 drum channel strips there. So when you do Command D to duplicate it, it will end up using multiple instances of the plugins. It's not going to use the same instance of the plugin, but that also means you have better aspect, better control over the individual tracks. You can put a different EQ, different compressor, you know, if you want to put a reverb just on the snare, etc., you can do that without having to affect all things at the same time. So it really comes down to use case. I think that new track for same channel strip and new track for next channel strip comes down to the days of when you dealt with like multi-timbral MIDI instruments. That was a way to take in software instruments that are multi-timbral in that regards and essentially have different pieces on different tracks, but still be able to be pointing to the same instance of the plugin. So in modern day times, I don't know necessarily how useful some of those will be. I would stick to Command D and Command Shift D instead of using things like new track with same channel strip setting. So that's an overview of duplicating tracks in Logic Pro. If you got any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Thank you for checking out this tutorial. I hope you found that useful and helpful. If you got any tips you'd love to share with the community, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe both to the YouTube channel and to the email list found at logic.band. That way you can get a free Getting Started with Logic course, and I can let you know when the Logic Keyboard Ninja key commands have been updated and keep you in the loop on everything going on at logic.band. Want to go deeper on this topic or anything related to macOS, VoiceOver, Logic, or GarageBand? Then book yourself some one-on-one training by visiting logic.band/training. Want to support us? Then visit logic.band/support where you can make a one-time or ongoing donation. You can also join the band by visiting logic.band/member or just hit the join button if you're watching this on YouTube. And you'll get bonus tutorials, a Q&A with me, and more. Links to everything plus a blog post with supplemental information for this tutorial is in the description. And as always, happy recording.